4:52 a.m. 66 degrees Fahrenheit. What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Just getting my morning started here in Philadelphia along the Schuylkill River Trail. I've got my Ricoh GR3. Let's set it to P mode. Snap focus at infinity. And let's make some photographs this morning. I'm always just eager to get out and start the day. You know, I can't really wait until the sun. Sometimes I just gotta get out before it even comes out. But yeah, today I just wanted to discuss some random street photography advice. I've been thinking about it more recently, and just wanted to share some thoughts. Just some random thoughts. So yeah, I've been practicing street photography for a decade now, a bit over a decade to be honest with you. I was into this thing since I was in high school, around 2013-14. I discovered my great uncle Bill. He owned a Leica M3. I remember he took me to the mall just nearby his house, and he showed me how to operate the camera. He never really directly influenced me to practice street photography, but the way that he showed me how to see is what sparked this sort of curiosity. And essentially he took me to the merry-go-round, or the carousel, and he described how shutter speed works. He showed me how if I set the camera to 1/30th of a second and stay still, the carousel will be blurred with motion. Then if I adjust the shutter speed to 1/500th of a second, I will create a still image. This carousel will remain still, right? This sort of slice of time. And you know, I learned those technical settings right away. He took me to this Build-A-Bear workshop. He was showing me how there were people walking by this advertisement on the wall of the teddy bears with their teddy bears in their hand, and making relationships between the foreground and background. I'll never forget this moment where he discussed the foreground background relationship to a photograph, and how I can create a visual story by connecting these pieces together. And so what I've recognized from this moment in this mall as a young 17-year-old boy, young man, was that photography, it's a visual game. It's like a puzzle. And you know, a lot of the time as a child I would spend with my uncle, and we would make puzzles in the mountains, and it requires lots of patience, lots of time spent to make and complete a puzzle. But as much as a puzzle is a visual game where you're putting these pieces together, you know, think of photography and the foreground, background. Photography, it's also this physical pleasure. It's this physical thing, right, that requires your body to move. It requires you to move through the world. And I believe when you're on the street, you must move with agility. Let me photograph this shoe. You know, the greatest thing about this modern technology and the compact digital camera is that I can photograph. I'm photographing right now at 1/4 of a second. Something that I could never fathom with my old Leica M3 that I started off with. Holding it with one hand. I've got a GoPro and a water bottle in the other, and I'm creating a sharp and still image using autofocus and just sort of pointing and shooting with automatic modes. So yeah, I believe that firstly we must consider the camera, right? This is the tool that we will be using on our journey. I find that the tool, the camera, Yeah, the camera, it's merely the key that will unlock the doors to life itself, right? The camera is the passport. It's the excuse that will take you out there onto the front lines of life itself. You know, I believe that the photographer is responsible for positioning themselves on the front lines of life with their camera and following through with intuition by following that sort of childlike curiosity and pressing the shutter during those decisive moments that are ever so fleeting. But that requires you to move. So the motivation, it's in your legs, it's in the movement of your body, right? The inspiration, it's outside. Just look outside your window, right? So when you go outside, you must go outside with this open mind, without any preconceived notions of what you will find. For no matter where you are in the world, whether along a river like this in my hometown or in a bustling market in Vietnam, there will always be something that you will find. For I can walk the same mundane lane every single day and I will always find something. I will always find a new way to make a photograph.